Dylan.
What's up?
So cook the
Dylan. Hey. All right. So technically we're in the post or the pre-show right now. So anyone who's joined in already, well, congratulations. Probably don't have anything else better to do. But anyways, so we're going to start off with our little intros and stuff, and then we'll get rolling here once the intros are going, and it's official.
This episode has been brought to you by Shadow Tactical Gear. To check out their lines of Shadow Strategic and Shadow Elite, go to shadow-gear.com. As always, links are in the description.
You're listening to Foxtrot 17 Podcast.
Look at you wearing your U.S. Marine Corps sweater.
It's World War II replica.
No, but still, bud. Good
Uh-huh.
for you. We're doing the
Oh yeah,
movie review of Full Metal Jacket, and you're wearing your Marine Corps hoodie
Totally.
or sweater.
totally
Smart. Well, look at you. I like it. You've got the theme.
Getting there.
You're setting the mood.
I'm trying my best, man.
Great date. You must be a great date.
I like this. I'd like to tell myself that, but I don't think women think that. So
No.
no, I just
All
keep telling myself they're wrong.
So, have you recovered since the Bubba Moore episode?
Oh goodness, I still have trauma from
You're
that.
still shocked.
That was rough.
Did your mom ground you for that?
No.
No. No.
Not at all.
So you're feeling good though?
Oh yeah, feeling great, man.
Yeah,
How about
look
you?
at you with that hair.
Dude, it's getting rough without a barber.
Hey, finally the bald guys win.
Look, yeah, stand on your pedestal for a little bit.
I'm just gonna enjoy it while I can, because soon it'll all be over.
Uh-huh.
I'll be over, and then yeah. But hey, we win all year round. So what have you been up to?
Just collecting my unemployment checks because I'm out of work and playing video games. That's about it.
Playing video games.
Oh yeah,
Not with me though.
No, I bought a Switch the other day, so
I saw that. So anyone wants to play Switch with Dylan, come on Facebook and he'll hook you up. I was like, what are you doing?
Oh yeah, dude.
Oh, buds.
Just trying to entertain myself.
All right. So before we get into our review, and the review we're going to do, so remember, this is kind of going to be like the Oprah Winfrey Book Club, but for action/war movies for all the enthusiasts. But first, what we're going to do is we have a mystery guest, and we're going to play 20 questions. You know how that works?
Yes.
So you can only ask questions that answer in yes or no.
Yes.
The mystery guest has two little signs they are going to hold up to answer yes or no. We couldn't disguise them well enough.
Okay.
All right. And also, I got the mystery guest, Ralph, there on mute. So if they they laugh or something, you won't get it. So
okay. So are these questions like pre?
No, you have to come up with the questions. You got to
Oh,
figure out who tonight's mystery guest is, and you got to ask them questions.
Oh, we're guessing who the mystery. Okay, yeah. Okay.
You are. I know who it is.
Oh, of course you know who it is.
I know how to play 20 questions.
So Ralph is a pin name for him?
Or her.
Or her. Okay.
Or her. Are you ready, Ralph? That's a yes.
That's a paper
Ralph
plate.
is ready. That's a yes. I should have the thing and then have my.
That's some high quality production.
Hey, you know what? The guest literally had less than 24 hours and they got on. So that's fantastic.
I feel like I had less than 24 hours.
Oh, bud, come on. You have nothing better to do. Video game. I got my Switch.
Pretty much. It keeps me busy, man. Lose track of time and days.
All right. Okay. Do you have a first question for Ralph?
Okay, it has to be yes or
over
no.
20 questions, we won't mind.
Okay.
So no pressure.
So I have to guess. Are you from California?
Ooh. There's only it's not 50 question. Was it 51
I
questions?
feel like that was a good generalized
Uh,
question.
I'm gonna write these down too because it's kind of funny.
Shit. Okay.
All right. Not from California.
Okay. Are you
Where was going with
are you
that?
from? Okay.
I'm
Are
go-
you
take,
li-
take the world and like start breaking it down into quadrants. How do you know that this person's even from the United States?
Are you living in the United States?
There you go. That's a good one. See, that's a good one.
Are you trying to guide me through this?
Well,
Yes. Okay.
are you from a state that rhymes with Montana?
Yeah, pretty much. Ooh. Are you living in? Oh, dude, this is like okay. Are you living in the Midwest or no? I'm sorry. Are you living in the western part of the United States? Okay.
And that's a no.
Alrighty.
All right, get off the living questions for a bit. You're driving me nuts. I
Well-
can only imagine the listeners are losing their mind.
Are you a guy? Oh, no, are you a guy?
There you go.
Yes. Okay.
This week.
This week, it is 2020.
So we have a male who's not in the western part of the
Have I-
United States or
Have
California.
I met you in person before?
There you go. The drama.
The delay.
The...
Oh yeah. Okay. Are you living in Texas? Oh dang it.
Texas.
Okay. Have I met? Okay. Well,
Oh
no.
my
Like now, I'm just trying to. Now I need to recall. What question are we on? Like 4 or 5?
You've had 6 questions.
Oh, geez. Okay. I met you before.
You have met this person before, this guy before, who's not in Texas, not in California, not in the western part of the United States.
Oh. I think I got it. Do you drive an FJ Cruiser?
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm good.
He does
Ooh.
drive an FJ Cruiser.
Oh, I know who it is. I just want to get as many narrowing questions down. Okay. You're screwed. You thought I couldn't get it.
That's a jeez. I think he's got it.
Have we done a podcast before together? Did all 3 of us do a podcast before together?
All 3 of us. That was a yes for everybody.
Uh-huh.
Forget some are listening. Yes.
Is your last name Baradas?
Do you look like Uncle Phil from The Fresh
Yeah.
Prince?
Is this Uncle Phil?
All right, I'm gonna unmute him. Bring him in. Bring Uncle Phil in.
Hey, what's up, man?
There he is.
Yeah.
Well, none
What's
other
going
than
on?
my former colleague, co-host, and the creator of This Week in Airsoft.
Oh yeah.
I really should have had the theme music keyed up for you.
Oh, that's all right. You asked me to get it, and I forgot. So
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. But yeah, James is kicking around still, looking great.
As always.
Busy as ever. Busy guy. Apparently he's got his own podcast rolling right now as well. Do you want to plug that a bit? Or do you want to keep that to your chest?
no, it's not an airsoft podcast. It's more like kind of IT tech stuff and kind of rambling on.
Stuff I'll never understand.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's called the IO Panel, IOPanelpodcast.com if anyone wants to check it out. Not airsoft related at all, so probably not the right audience, but yeah, feel free if anyone wants to.
Right on.
Yeah.
And that's a weekly? You like the weeklies.
Yeah, it's weekly. We do every Sunday.
What day is it today?
Dude, who knows?
I
Who
know.
fucking knows?
Today. Today.
Corona's day. I have no idea.
I keep losing count.
Well, it's like when you had This Week in Airsoft. I'm like, my God, we have to do one like every week now? Like, it's in the name. Like, James and I'd be scratching our heads some, like, what should we talk about this week?
Yeah, man, airsoft.
It's,
Airsoft's hard. It's really hard.
It's
Especially when there's lean times, like right now.
Yeah.
It's hard when there's nothing going on.
Dude, I knew you couldn't stump Dylan. By the way, I knew you couldn't. Dylan's like one of the smartest airsofters I think I've ever done this podcast with.
My dude.
I mean,
Captain Cruz
Wow.
something come out of nowhere.
Wow, what a nice
So-
guy.
I knew you couldn't stump him. I knew he's gonna like. I was like, it's gonna be the first or second question he's gonna get it. So yeah,
I was worried he was going to go. Are you from Baltimore, Maryland?
Well, I knew you were in the Northeast. I couldn't remember what state it was. So I started to figure it out once you're like, okay, have I met you before? I'm like, okay, now I gotta like really figure it out. Because at that point, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get it at some point.
We'll have to do this from time to time. He was worried. He goes, "It's not Bubba Moore, is it?" Because I'm still traumatized.
yeah.
It's like, let's be a nice, friendly podcast, just chill and talk about some like just chill topics. And Bubba Moore kicks open the door, like, "What's up,
Literally,
guys?" Like
kicks open the door,
Kool-Aid man.
and it all goes to hell.
But Moore's quite the character.
Oh,
That was great.
You can tell he's stir crazy right now. Wants to get moving on stuff. So James has been telling me he's looking at attending some events in the near future or future, whatever's going to happen.
Whenever the future starts.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So that's some good news. Happy to hear that.
What events, if they do happen?
I don't know. I'm trying to get some. So I've been playing since I haven't been playing airsoft in a while. I've been playing video games. So I have a bunch of video game buddies. We're gonna do some. Airsoft. So I mean, whatever I do is gonna be it'll be on the Northeast or like either Southeast. Most of them are in the South, so they're like North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee. So it'll be somewhere around them, probably. Down south there.
Ballahack does big games. I think a few times a year.
Yeah. Ballahack's good. Ballahack, we'll see if there's any. I don't know who's around, like who the big promoters are anymore. I'm gonna have to be picking everybody's brain and do some
far
research.
from Ballahack are you?
Ballahack is.
It's in Virginia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean it's about 5 hours away from me, but my mom lives in Williamsburg, and it's about 2 hours or hour and a half away from her, so it's not that big a deal, honestly. Yeah. I've been there before. I mean, it's a great facility.
I know any like for Milson promoters
Not
that
that big a
go
deal,
all the way up there. I think AMS does like a northern front, but I think that's in like maybe Minnesota or Michigan or something.
Oh, yeah.
Or Illinois.
Yeah.
But besides
Illinois.
that, I don't know if many providers that go all the way up there off the top
Right.
of my head.
Nobody
What,
goes,
Illinois?
dude.
People go
Yeah, but-
East Coast, but people won't go northeast.
Yeah, nobody goes northeast. Nobody there. I was asking Josh Warren to do a game in the Northeast years
Mhm.
ago, and the closest he'd get was in Virginia.
Yeah, I know
And-
they go East Coast.
But nobody goes like north of Maryland. John Liu, I guess, if he's still doing stuff, and then
He had one planned for New Jersey.
yeah,
Oh,
he does stuff like in PA and stuff like that. And there's a couple like there used
There's
to be a
MIR.
couple. Yeah, they're out of I don't know. See, I don't know what he's doing now. I know.
Yeah, they have one
They're
at,
out of Illinois before.
It's in Buffalo or upper state Buffalo or New York, outside of Buffalo, near Rochester.
Okay, cool.
It's called Seneca something. The Seneca Offensive. That's my terrible recollection.
Got to do my research, man.
You do.
I don't want to spend money on a. I'm trying to impress my friends with the glory of airsoft, so I don't want to spend money on a bunch of unvetted events. I go there and it's like basically a 12-year-old's pizza party.
Ooh, yeah. I don't know. That might be good to bring him in though, dude. They might like that.
Maybe I kind of doubt it though. I got two ex-Marines and then
No, they won't.
yeah, exactly. So yeah.
Well, yeah, man, that'd be dope if they have them around there. But at this point, I don't think any of us know off the top of our heads.
That's all good. I got about 9 months. I've given it a year out, so I want to know by 9 months. But I guess it depends on everything that's going on right now. If the world ends or not. If we're all like fucking yelling, witness me in the back of a fucking old pickup truck, or not. We'll see what happens.
All right, so
yeah.
Good news is James is coming back. He's going to get out to some events. Dylan's washed his hair, and we're now going to review a movie. That's right, the movie review. So I'm wanting to kick this off with Full Metal Jacket because I know everybody's seen it or heard of it or they know some reference to it. So Full Metal Jacket, it was released in 1987. People don't realize it was that long ago. And it's set in the 60s during the Vietnam, the United States involvement in Vietnam. Now, some people absolutely love it and some people hate it. But what a lot of people don't realize, it's not really a war movie. It's even been referenced as an anti-war movie.
Yeah.
Has anyone heard of James or Dylan? You ever heard of that?
No.
Some people,
not in the slightest.
So that's the interesting thing. So when I started doing some looking at reviews and just seeing other opinions, I found a lot of little neat tidbits. So apparently Stanley Kubrick, the director and producer, he stated this was his answer to Rambo. He didn't like the way Rambo glorified war and stuff. So this was his reference or his answer to Rambo.
Boy, he failed. He failed big time, dude. I think that movie is Full Metal Jacket responsible for probably 70% of the Marines from the 80s to 2003.
Right.
It's one of my dad's buddies, he went into the Air Force after he watched Top Gun. So it's media is huge. Yeah.
Even though Top Gun is actually a naval movie.
You know what I mean?
No, I know what you mean.
Flying.
But no, that was one of the recruiting things. I remember seeing back in the day, you'd see a commercial and it'd be people coming out of the theater telling you their impressions of it. And almost everyone's like, I'm joining the Air Force.
Yeah.
Right.
No, it was definitely for the time. It was a very influential movie. I agree with you for that.
There was a video store in my small town, and they'd give out posters. They just gave the posters away, and I had a huge one, a Full Metal Jacket. It was more of a banner, and I wish I kept it. It would be worth so much money right now. It was amazing, so cool, and yeah, I love that movie as a kid, or I guess I was really young because I'm not that old.
Dude, the movie was, watching Arlie Ermy do his thing was absolutely amazing. It was it changed it. So
okay, we're gonna get to that.
Oh, okay.
Pin,
all right.
pin that. Yeah, he gets his own little segment in here, obviously.
All right. Great.
But one of the interesting tidbits I found about Full Metal Jacket was, did you know it was actually filmed in England?
Holy shit, really? I didn't know that.
It was filmed in England, and to top that off, it was filmed in East London.
Interesting.
Pinewood Studios?
No, not even Pinewood Studios. That's another interesting thing, Pinewood Studios. But anyways, so there's an old industrial complex, I guess, to the east that was going to be demolished anyways. And luckily enough, the architecture and the buildings within this complex was French architecture, which matched the Vietnam architecture. And so since they was going to be demolished, they were able to cut holes out and set the scene.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. They grossed 120 million as of 1998.
Isn't that crazy? That's nothing compared to this day's money.
No,
right?
No,
well, I guess compared to this day's money, it's probably huge, but compared to what a Marvel movie made
back
or
then,
something. Yeah,
yeah. For back then, it was probably good. It said it was number 23 highest grossing film of 1987.
All right. So first off, Ralph, we got a question here for you, Ralph. Ralph's actually, I don't know if you can change it mid-show now, is actually James. And we have a question to you from my mate down in Australia. He wants to know, what are you drinking, Ralph?
I hope I'm allowed to drink beer here. This is Leinenkugel's Berry Weiss right now. We'll give that a little advertisement there.
A little pluggy.
Yeah, a little plug. Yeah, sorry. I drink and I curse. So I hope this isn't too PG a show.
That's why him and I get along. Remember in Scranton, we came out and you're like, I think this hotel's being used by hookers. I'm like, what? You're like, yeah, man. Another story. You'll have to ask us.
Yeah. You know what's let me say this real quick. You know what's funny? The whole time, so for anyone who doesn't know, Dylan used to work I don't want to say for me because he didn't work for me. He did his own thing and he kind of just added a lot of value to our podcast. But I always thought, I was like, man, this kid's so good. Like he's a good kid. You know, I felt really like I'm like always, oh, fuck this, F-bomb that. And Dylan's like, okay, whatever you say, man.
You can say, Mr. James.
How old was I?
I don't know,
like
man.
16, 17,
yeah,
18
16,
around
17. They have a fucking beard.
Yeah.
You're driving an FJ Cruiser like a big boy. I like it, man. I'm in. Good job.
Appreciate it, man.
All right.
Means a lot.
So, Full Metal Jacket's also very synonymous for all the different. There's a lot of memorable parts that has weeded its way into, I guess, pop culture. And the funny thing is, a lot of people don't realize, even now. So obviously there's this song, but this scene here, people will reference it and they don't even realize that Two Live Crew used some of the samples for their song.
Yeah, me so horny
here. Yeah. Like you tell people that and you're like, that's Two Live Crew's song. They're like, no, it's not. Like I've actually had arguments with people and you play it and they're like, no, it's not the same. Like,
people don't know. I mean, a lot of people will reference this movie and have no idea what they're referencing. They don't even know.
Absolutely.
Like, they'll know. But people know Arlie Ermey's voice from certain scenes, but they don't know who he is or why. Why that's synonymous with anything.
Right. And then even like Family Guy, right? Like this song. No one really cared about this song until Family Guy used it. Well, there's a couple. Got to cue it in a bit. There's a little.
I know what song you're talking about.
Yeah, the gunfight first. I think they blow up the building. I don't want to use too much of the content, otherwise I'll get flagged.
You know, it's funny. There's like you said, it was. Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
And the way they use it, cinematography is wild.
Yeah. It's like you get this extreme violence. And then you'll have like this song, and you'll be like "Wait, are we having we having a good time now?" Some guy got his head blown off just now.
It's like taking an exhale, like a breath, like hey.
And that's what Kubrick was trying to do: go from one extreme to the other.
And he did a good job for that. Like after an intense firefight, a bunch of people died.
Yeah,
just like okay, let's take a break, take a rest, and
that symbol's gonna come back in a bit.
Audio relief.
I think this is like the failure of his anti-war message, though, because if you go back and go to IMDb and watch the trailer, it's really dark and brooding, and you're like, this is a horror movie. Like that's what you'd think. You like this is some kind of a war horror movie. Yeah. But when you watch, I never felt that as a kid watching this, and I've watched this movie like 16 times. I've never felt that this movie was a horror movie or that it was anti-war. It was more like a story of war, but not, because those breaks like really hit you, and you're like, oh shit, okay. We're moving on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, all right. Another tidbit coming in, and it comes from this segment here, or this scene. Get some. Get some. So you can get some. Get some. Yeah. This is where he's the door gunner in the helicopter.
Yeah, and just shooting civvies.
He's just shooting civilians out in the rice paddies. A little bit long clip.
Anyone who runs is a BC. Anyone who stands still is a well-disciplined VC. You guys ought to do a story about me sometime. Why should we do a story about you? Because I'm so fucking good. That ain't no shit neither. I've done got me 157 dead goose kills and 51 of buffalo stew. Them are all certified. Any women or children? Sometimes. How can you shoot women and children? Easy. You just
So there's more of the symbolism of how a little bipolarish the characters can be. But apparently that door gunner was originally cast to be Gunnery Sergeant Hartman.
Really?
Oh,
And I guess so. When Gunny, that's what they call him now, or did call him, when they brought him in, he was only the technical advisor. But I guess once in a while he would wear a uniform to get in the role. And they're saying once he was a very nice man, but once he got in the role, like got in the uniform, got in the role, he was just your typical gunnery sergeant and just lost it. And then I guess they weren't going to use him in the movie until he made like a demo tape on set, and they showed Kubrick, and then he was kind of like literally apparently ripped up most of the script around him. It's like, all right, we got to rewrite this. And I've heard a rumor that apparently a lot of his stuff wasn't even scripted; they just let him go.
yeah. So I heard that they, and I don't know if this is true, but I heard that they were like, they sprayed him with a hose or something and threw tennis balls at him, and then he just went nonstop while they were like throwing tennis balls at him and spraying with a hose, like on film. And that's on film somewhere. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I heard. So that might be a total piece of made up shit. So we'll see.
And someone will correct us in the comments if it's not.
Hey, no worries. Anyways, Daniel Tate, one of the boys from Gator Bones, is saying hello.
Hey.
Yeah, he's getting restless for sure. Those guys, yeah, don't want to keep them cooped up for too long. But so then the question is, like, I'm not going to do a whole synopsis of the movie because almost everyone's seen it. If you haven't, that's your fault. But do you think the movie would have been the same if they'd actually gone with the original actor rather than
No,
Gunny?
no, not even close. That actor really.
I know it's a stupid question, but
he made that character. Like when you're an actor, you're trying to mold to yourself to that character. No, that guy, that's who he was known for probably the rest of his life.
I mean, he got a honorary gunnery sergeant title from that because of that movie.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm looking at it on IMDb. It was rated an 8.3, which is actually really good, and it's rated 102 all-time top movie. On IMDb, yeah.
Funny, Siskel and Ebert didn't like it, apparently.
I mean, I'm sure a lot of people didn't. I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people didn't like it.
There's, maybe you said it was at the time that people didn't like it, or is it just now people were not a fan of it? Because I know it's a classic, and classics are generally not that great of quality movies. They're just more entertaining and just nostalgic. But
now the reason I needed James to be on this review was because he's actually met Gunny.
Oh, really?
I mean, yeah, but it wasn't like that. It wasn't like, we sat down and had a beer and like did something crazy together.
Regardless, that's still cool though.
Yeah, no, he's a cool ass guy. I mean, he's working for Glock, and I met him at SHOT Show in 2014, and he was like selling these Glock fucking G33s or whatever, like these tiny little Glocks. And I talked to him for like briefly for a second and took a really awkward stilted picture with him, which is on Facebook somewhere. Cause I was like so nervous. I was like, it was like a very bad picture, but he was cool, man. He was freaking cool. Like he's very aware. He's self-aware. He knows why people are there. He knows people are there to see him because of Gunnery Sergeant Hartman. Like he gets it. Right. And he milks it. He turned not milks. I don't know in a bad way, but he turned that whole thing into like a career, which I'm not mad at all. I think it's a great thing. The movie. I don't know what that movie would have been without him. And I often fantasize about what's the movie with Jamie Foxx where he plays the gunnery sergeant, and they're like in the oil field at night and everything's burning. Is it and it's like he's
Jarhead.
Jarhead. So imagine Gunnery Sergeant Hartman going into Vietnam with them. Imagine that movie. You know what I mean? But he doesn't die in the beginning of the movie. He's there following them, his unit, or somehow he's somehow connected. Like, dude, I love, like, there's a movie with him in it, Firebase Gloria. Holy shit. That movie is like one long Marine Corps erection. I mean, if you haven't seen Firebase Gloria, you need to go watch it. It's amazing.
So I'm looking at it right now. He served in the Marine Corps for 11 years, and rose to the rank of Staff Sergeant, and later was bestowed the honorary rank of Gunnery Sergeant by the Marine Corps. After he served 14 months in Vietnam, and later did 2 tours in Okinawa.
Yep.
See, so that's one of my one of regrets is I was supposed to come to SHOT Show with James, and then something went sideways. I couldn't even tell you what it was now. And then he posts that picture, and I was just like banging my head. I'm like, oh my god, I could have met Gunnery Sergeant Hartman. Like, please call me a worthless piece of shit. Get on my knees, make him strangle yourself.
Yeah.
Now, when I was a teenager, I was in Army Cadets. That's what we have up here. There's a couple different organizations in the United States, but ours is nationwide. And one year, we had barracks that resembled the barracks in the movie. And so, sure enough, we'd all line up in our bunks and fucking reenact that all the time.
Oh, dude, that'd have been great.
Oh, and
That's funny.
it was a rifle course, actually, and all we did pretty much every day, all day, was just shoot rifles. So every night we'd do the prayer, "This is my rifle."
Oh, boy.
On the marching around too. So, but it just shows how infectious it was as well, and how it didn't turn into the anti-war movie that he had really hoped for. Imagine all his minions around him told him it did, but
Yeah, it's one of those classic nostalgic movies that everybody knows about.
yeah.
It might have been at the time probably like it probably performed that action at the time, but I think just time shifted, and America, America is still America, right? Like, we kind of celebrate the military in all its forms, and even anti-war or anti-military movies, or movies that are like, kind of like, hey, PTSD is a thing or whatever. Even those movies end up being celebrated in general as war movies. I mean, Jarhead is definitely not a pro-war, pro-military movie, but it kind of performs that duty, just on the face of how it is. And the EOD one, I forgot what it's called, where the guy's the EOD tech or whatever. That one does it too. I mean, it's just I think it's who we are. It's a cultural thing,
Some box. I want to say Sandbox. Obviously not it. Shoot, it's on the tip of my tongue. It's somewhere there, but I know what you mean. And it's almost like the battle within of each soldier.
Yeah, right.
So like, now a lot of people have described Full Metal Jacket as actually two small movies put together, or one. It's almost 60-40, where the basic training is 60% of the movie, and how it goes into how they start base camp, and the symbolism of the shaving their heads. It's like you're no longer a civilian type thing, because a lot of the guys, they had the long 60s hippie hair, right? And so the symbolism there of just shaving their heads off, and then it gets into
changing of one ideology to another.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly it, right? And then he gets right into the addressing the recruits, which is like a huge wake up, and it's just all part of the system of deconstructing and then reconstructing the recruits, and basically tell them you will be a weapon,
Right.
as opposed to just holding one, right?
You know where I think Kubrick failed, and when I say he failed, I mean it's a win for us. Like, we all love the movie. I love the movie, right? But where I think he failed his anti-war message was, and I think you kind of just hit the nail on the head. They have this scene where you have these guys come in and begin this transformation, but we as the audience have 0 point of reference to why they are like there's no motivation, like why they joined the Marines, what happened, what got them here, were they just drafted, like what's the situation, what's going on, who they were before, what their hopes and dreams were before. And then we see them, they become Marines. We know them in boot camp, but in boot camp for us, they're this blank, homogenous, ball-headed slate, that we know very little about, besides like the nicknames they give each other and maybe their voices. There are a few characters that are shaped for us, but that's it. So
yeah. And then that's a very good point too, the nicknames, because you only hear their real names at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then just the flashbacks, how he addresses them by their names, but after that is just nicknames.
Yep.
Right. A quick hello. Oh, that's mine. A quick hello to my buddy John Melko. He's one of the guys I jumped with down in Florida.
Nice.
He's just outside Atlanta. Really cool guy, and his daughter is a hockey player, so she's really wicked.
Hockey. What's
yeah,
that?
I'll explain off air. Don't worry.
Uh-huh.
But Yeah, very good points. Exactly. Like he tried to, and he did at one point. Like he did portray the messages he wanted to or convey it, but it's not being accepted or received.
Well, I think they just should have, like, if they had explored the civilian side of these characters, then we could have seen hopes and dreams die when they die in the battlefield and things like that. There have been so much more depth to the characters. Right now, it's a story about Marines. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
you're right.
All you needed was maybe like 30 minutes of time of just building the characters up until the beginning of the movie. That would probably have been enough time to set a scene.
It would have humanized them.
The only part we see a background of Joker's upbringing is when he says he wants to be the first kid on his block with a confirmed kill.
Right.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, like, even at the end when they're given their assignments and Hartman yells out Joker like the media corps or whatever, and he's like, what? He did all this, became a killer, and now you're gonna be a reporter.
You know what's funny? You just reminded me of something. There's so many points in the movie where like people watch this film, they're like, oh, it's amazing, we love this movie, but some of the acting is so stilted. You know, there's the scene in the bathroom where Joker and I forgot the guy, but he's like, can I slip my tube steak into your sister? And I watched it as a kid and I was like, what is he talking about? You know? But then it's like so weird. It's such a weird, like, has such a weird cadence to it. It's almost robotic. I mean, I can only imagine if I said to one of you guys, I'd like to slip my tube steak in your sister, what your reaction would be. Like, everything seemed so weird about it. And then there's the other scene where it's in the trailer. It's really featured big in the trailer is when Joker is talking. He's already in country and he's talking to that random colonel who's like, you need to get with the program, son. Why do you have a peace sign on your helmet? This guy is like obviously trying to emulate a more officer-like version of R. Lee Ermey's character, but it's very robotic and it's like bop, 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 and it's really bad. You know, it's just a really bad sequence of events, and I've always been confused by it and been like, always try to understand, because to me in my mind, I'm like, this is a perfect film. There's no mistakes in it. So this is like this for a reason, you know? But if you sit back and look, you're like, no, this guy's a bad actor. And Matthew Modine is probably like, okay, I'll just do whatever here. You know what I mean?
Right. And actually it was funny because when they're casting, they're a little awkward about it. So Private Pyle and is it Modine, the actor?
Yeah.
Who's Joker? They're actually friends. He got him in the movie.
Oh, okay.
I guess he was a bouncer. And somehow he knew or whatever. And he got him in.
Is that his first movie?
Pyle?
Yeah.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Vincent.
Yeah, that was his first movie. He had no
inclination.
Yeah, he had no inclinations of being an actor until that. And then
he got into
it, and he put on 60 pounds.
He only did 4 movies.
Have you seen? He's in, dude. You got to see him in TV. Like he's the in the Punisher. He plays the boss or whatever. I can't think of his name now, but he's the Punisher. On Netflix. On Netflix, he's the Netflix. He's his main boss. He's the main enemy, like the main arch nemesis to the Punisher. And Vincent D'Onofrio actually like takes that show away. Without him, that show's shit. You know, like I need to see more of just him being that character. And of course, he's in. He did like 4 or 5 seasons in Criminal Intent or whatever. Kingpin. There you go. This guy's got it. Yeah. And he plays one of the detectives in Criminal Intent. And in Criminal Intent, he's like this kind of like autistic-y, kind of weird, detached detective. And it's great. Like he's an amazing actor. He's not in enough stuff, honestly, too, which sucks because I think he's a fucking weirdo.
Yeah, he was only in 4. He was only in Ed Wood, which was made in 1994 by Orson Welles. The Cell in 2000, and Men in Black in 97.
Yeah, because he's a weirdo. 4 movies. He's a weirdo. He's a weirdo. He probably like lives off of freaking, I don't know, Quaaludes or something. I don't know what's going on with him. But he's strange. A nice 70s drug for you, Dylan. There you go, Quaaludes.
Quaaludes, never heard of it. but
Yeah,
it
man. You
sounds-
gotta go back in time for Quaaludes, man. That's old for me.
Quaalude.
Okay, so back to him. He put on 60 pounds for the movie, and they're like, "No, you still look pretty badass, so you got to put on more weight." So I guess he put on 80 pounds in total to play that role. And then after I learned that, I'm watching him. Like, he actually doesn't look bad for, like, he's supposed to be this big fat guy, but like he actually doesn't look terrible. And to imagine he put on 80 pounds just for the one role, and apparently because when Kubrick films, apparently he takes his sweet ass time, or when he did, like in the war scenes when they're shooting the walls after the sniper shoots and they return fire. I guess after a take they would replace all the holes. They would, like, I guess, spackle.
Oh yeah. To reuse the set.
Use the same building, right? So they're just and it would take a day or two just to cover the holes. So literally a scene a day. It's kind of ridiculous. So anyway, so the point is, Buddy put on 80 pounds and he had to keep it on for the whole shooting. Like, I don't know the schedule what when they did if they did the war scenes first or they did the
I'm curious.
because they do have hair. They probably did the war scenes first because they have hair. That'd make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Right. Then they shaved it off. Then did the other scenes.
Yeah.
Oh, Daniel's late to the party, but we've already talked about Dylan's hair. Dylan needs a
man,
haircut.
It's rough. It's getting rough, man. It's just there's no good to it.
James, you shave your own head, right?
I do, man, but I'm letting baldness take me, as you can see here. It's all coming in nicely. I'm letting nature do its thing, man.
Can you grow a fro?
No. My hair never grows at all, man. It's a curse.
So
there's also no reenactments going on, so I actually can grow it out willingly for now. But
Dylan, you're trying to get your man bun going, right? You're gonna just like let it.
I'd never succumb myself to a man bun. My hair grew out long. It was almost down to my shoulders by October, but I know I'm never succumbed myself to a man bun. Never going to do that. Everyone's like, "You gotta do it." I was like, "No, not doing that." I could, but I didn't. No.
Okay, so back to the symbolism. You mentioned the one officer he spoke to that was a little robotic and a little goofy. So there's the one bit of symbolism where he talks about his peace sign button on his jacket, but yet on the helmet it says "Born to Kill."
Yeah, the duality man, that Jungian thing.
That's right. So it's kind of like a bit of a yin yang type getting going on, and apparently that was to show how he can be
killing is peaceful.
You know what the problem is, though? Again, that's like where he fails, right? He has Joker, this character who's like a walking meme. You know, like he's constantly memeing. He's constantly saying random shit. And so as the audience, I feel like you don't know what the fuck, where to take this. Like, you're like, oh, are we supposed to learn something from him? Or are we just having a good time with him? And yeah, it's just, so I feel like when he said that, my takeaway was when he said that to the colonel, I was like, oh, he's basically telling this guy to go fuck off. Like, he's just bullshitting this guy right now. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't take it seriously at any point, you know?
Yeah, I remember as a kid thinking because they called him Joker, I was like, he's just being funny.
Well, yeah, and then the whole, like, I'm sure there's something to the whole, is that you, John Wayne? Is this me? Like, I know what that's from, but at the same time, I just, it came off as like, oh, this guy's just a fucking, he's just memeing. He doesn't get it. And, you know, the military hasn't broken his soul yet. So, but, you know, I think he's trying to make a more direct message on Arlie Ermey's performance. About or General Gunnery Sergeant Hartman and what he was doing at the time, but it just comes off as a joke. You know what I mean?
Yes. Now, this is in this day and age. I imagine back in the 80s, people weren't thinking that. I don't know.
Sure, yeah. No. I mean, the 80s, it was a fresh wound, right? Like, like Vietnam was like fucking. It was like serious, you know. Probably what's that movie with fucking the guy who's Bubba Gump Shrimp or whatever, what's his name? Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump. Yeah.
That does a great job as being like,
He remembers it by the shrimp.
Yeah, man. I just, you know.
Bubblegum
but
Shrimp Company, man.
yeah, but that movie I think is a good anti-war movie. That little anti-war segment they have in there because it shows
Yeah.
that harsh cruelty. But that kind of
Well, it also goes back to what you said about building up the person to be human and then
Yeah.
putting him in that situation. Like
Yeah.
the majority of the movie was Forrest being himself, and he got thrown into Vietnam for maybe 10 minutes of scene and of the war, and yeah, it really put a turn on things of what it was like.
It gives
just
you
for a short
you have a
segment.
huge takeaway from
Yeah,
that moment, and it's Lieutenant Dan and then all the anti-war protests. So that kind of encapsulates that time period in which this movie took place. So I guess people coming in the 80s, like you're saying, watching this in the 80s are like, ooh, they're,
Right.
but for us, we're like, oh, let's go, boys, kill them all, get those gooks, like we don't care,
No,
Well,
yeah, so
exactly, and they didn't have the information highway. That's what we were promised back then, or even inkling to share the information, or like even just your reference to memes, right? Where
Yeah.
you didn't know if people shared the same sense of humor.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
you
right.
and your buddy. It's the only people
Right.
that talk about it is just people that saw the movie. And
Right,
it's
like we could be three guys in the bar right now in the 80s talking about it, and that'd be different.
Yeah.
We wouldn't even know.
Mhm.
But now all the thousands of people listening and watching, they all agree or disagree. But so how did you feel when you watched the movie for the first time, and then when you found out the sniper was actually a teenage girl?
Not surprised.
I thought that was cool, honestly.
That
No,
was cool.
no, sorry, not cool. Like, yeah, get them. But like, I thought it was I thought it was like probably one of the more emotional scenes in the whole movie
Right.
Oh, definitely.
You
yeah, agree, 100%.
because you didn't expect it, and you kind of were like,
Mm-mm.
and I think for me, and like Dylan is a different generation, obviously, right? But so maybe he's been more exposed to like this kind of like people redoing this in war movies. But when I saw that movie for the first time, I was like shocked. You know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
at that time in my life, there was no concept that kids did war. No one was talking about child soldiers in Africa. Like that wasn't a thing in the 90s. Nobody was talking about it, or the 80s when I saw the movie, like as a kid. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, what went wrong in her life to get her here?
Right.
And then it kind of exposed my brain to this logic of like, oh shit, she's defending what she thinks is important or right. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because you view kids as more innocent. You view kids as like
Yeah.
their ideals are more innocent than an adult who
But
might
the-
have a million different inputs.
But they're also very easily influenced.
Sure, yeah, absolutely,
So-
absolutely.
And also
But there's
kinda
a
shows
lot.
what the mindset that they're the elders to that girl of what were they putting in her head. So
Yeah, but it that's the thing, right? It puts there's a lot of possible inputs there that you wouldn't have if you just saw an adult doing it. It's
Right.
more powerful a scene that way.
Mhm.
So I thought it was one of the better scenes in the whole movie. And then he has to make that decision, that clutch decision, like, what am I going to do?
And
No,
looking
it's
at
exactly
it, so they filmed. So it took them over a year to film. They started in August 1985 and finished in 1986 of September.
Look at
And,
Dylan with the Google Nader.
Dude, I know you like that. And so apparently it was out.
Yeah.
Platoon came out 6 months before this one released. It took them so long to film.
So in
They
the
said they
background there. Sorry, bud. Carry on.
No, you're good. No, I was just like reading a little few of the things, and
Yeah, you're turning into an
It's a-
audio encyclopedia.
it's what I do. And
But anyway, so this is the music from that sniper scene where they're looking for her, but they don't know it's her. But I just remember this, and like I remember I was creeped out because it's all fiery, right? And it's all that red in dark. James is squinting; he's trying to hear.
No, I'm looking at my.
Oh,
Yeah, no, you're good. I'm looking at my screen here, looking at IMDb. Good.
I remember. Yeah, like I even bought the Full Metal Jacket soundtrack when it came out on cassette.
ooh,
That's right. I think I wore the snot out of it. Now, is there any other symbolism that I haven't mentioned that you guys come to mind? James has brought out quite a few of them, so he's good at jumping ahead, which is awesome, though.
we haven't really talked about the Jelly Donut killing himself.
Jelly donut. Well, yeah,
That
a
scene.
little
That scene. Is,
self-explanatory when Private Pile snaps
Yeah.
And it's funny because when you watch the scene, when he snaps, like his rifle drill is on point and it looks like really good. You're like, buddy, you're there, you made it. Like you look great, and then he blows away Hartman.
And the
Little
Gunny's
spoiler for everybody.
attitude during it.
Say again.
The Gunny's attitude during it when he how he essentially doesn't change out of
negotiating skills wasn't part of his, his repertoire.
I don't know that. Good.
No, I was just gonna say that his mindset of still being a Gunny compared to being in a human situation where this guy's about to kill himself, that I feel like would naturally want to, hey, try to talk him out of it instead of just you're being a dick. Don't kill yourself, and just being in his face and everything about it, and not trying to calm him down, I guess you can say, or defuse the situation.
So from that scene for me was like, I tried to understand why Hartman did what he did. And I've kind of come to the conclusion that for Gunnery Sergeant Hartman, this is a violation of Firewatch, right? For him, right? That's all he sees it as. This is a violation of Firewatch. This is a guy with a gun with live ammo. You know what I mean? And so basically everything is about to go horribly wrong. And all he can do is default back to the way he's supposed to treat recruits at the time, right? Like I can't ever see him going back. All right, son, look, we got it. No, that's not who he is, right? Like he's a fucking hard ass. I'm gonna, go absolutely fucking ham on you, And every time I've talked to my friends in the Marines, they don't say, "Oh, it's like that," but they've never. Basically, they said, and I guess they call him the kill hat, right? The kill hat is basically like not going to be like, unless there's a clear fuck up from someone, like some clear fuck up from someone else, they're not ever going to show a recruit some kind of like soft, cuddly side of themselves. Like that's not what they're going to do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. This guy's got it. So yeah, he's just not going to. It's not what he's going to do. Like he would let an officer do that before he would do that. So I mean, it makes sense. I mean, to me, it is definitely could have been handled differently, but
of course, but
but they're more or less going for the symbolism and the whole point of he had enough. And they accomplished the goal of turning him into a weapon in a well-oiled machine, but at what cost? Because he's no longer the person he was. And he was a killer.
Yeah. That he was.
That he was. James is looking up some good nugget there. So I got one last bit of symbolism, but I was hoping you guys might have had a couple more, or if you do, I want you guys to get them in there before I bring up the last one, because it's pretty much the last scene of the movie.
Which was the last scene?
The last scene of the movie, they're marching off onto their next objective, and they're all singing Mickey Mouse.
It's a weird scene. It's a weird scene.
It is a weird scene, and it's the bipolarism, kind of like they can switch it on and off.
There's a lot of weird scenes.
But I sum that up as at the end of the day, they're still just kids.
If I could count how many airsoft events we've done that at, like, let me tell you something right now. You go to an airsoft event, and it's a bunch of guys in a field, and someone just says, MIC, and it's going to start immediately. It will start. I don't care where you're at. I don't care what's going on. Someone could be like taking a shit. It doesn't matter. It's going to start, and it's going to go and go and go until someone tells you to shut the fuck up. Like, it's one of those things. It's like a tie that binds. That's a beautiful thing about airsoft, right? Like you can go from all the political spectrums, like all the country spectrums, whatever. It doesn't matter. There are certain things that bind us all together as a community, and that's one of them. And this movie is actually a huge part of that, right?
Very influential.
All right. So very good, gentlemen. I feel like we got something going here, and Oprah's going to be jealous. Daniel has another question, though. We kind of covered it earlier.
I can't even see the question.
What event are you hoping to make it in this year? Honestly, I hope all of them make it in. There's a couple of good ones up here north of the border. I really hope that happens. I want to get to Centurion for sure. I want to check that out. Always, I want to get back to doing some Milsim West events. And Dylan's twisted my arm to get to a Third Coast Airsoft event as well.
Yes, they are great.
Um,
But don't know when the next one will be with all this pandemic.
I know.
So.
Correct. And always American Milsim as well. James, does any of this register these names I'm throwing at you?
I mean, I've heard of Third Coast.
Yeah.
Through obviously I probably like 70 or 80% of the people on my Facebook page are airsofters. So I'm familiar with. I've heard of Third Coast, but obviously the other big companies I know. I know there's a bunch of other companies that I'm not aware of. So,
Dylan, you want to fill him in anything he's missed?
No, mainly
Dylan's hosting a big event.
Dylan is hosting a
I'm
big
trying
event.
to segue to your big event next January.
oh,
Yes.
boy, what?
It's going to be a World War II airsoft, a 24-hour nonstop event.
There we go.
So
So I've seen Dylan's Instagram. I follow Dylan
Yeah.
on Instagram, and Dylan's an active reenactor. I don't know. Are you reenacting? You're not really reacting, right? It's more like you're
Well,
just doing period
I
airsoft
do-
events.
I do reenacting, but we also do period airsoft events. They're not as common, so we're trying to provide more of that option to the players. It's going to be under Gunfighter Games. We're going to do our own Milsim company, me, Stefan. So we're starting it up. We're trying to finish all the legal everything. So
Stefan
But
and
first-
I.
Stefan and I. Look, I'm from Louisiana.
right.
Our education is not that great for a reason.
He cuts up Louisiana more than anybody.
I know, because I'm from here. I can. So, but no, we're starting. Our first event is going to be January of 2021 at 878 in Waxahachie, Texas.
Yeah, we had
And-
a little trouble stumbling over that a couple podcasts ago.
And our next one after that is looking to be a Vietnam event, and then we're going to go into modern events and just go from that. So
Right on.
eventually we will get there. But no, back to the thing of current event promoters. I'm talking really fast. So you got Third Coast Airsoft, American Milsim, Milsim West, Lion Claws, and Centurion. If those are like the big ones that off the top of my head. Unless I'm missing
Centurion
some.
is Bubba Moore's company, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That's correct. I
yeah.
was just messing something there. I just realized an option I didn't know.
Yeah,
I had before.
I paid to go to one of his events, but it got canceled, and then there's all this drama surrounding it, and so yeah, there's
There's drama and airsoft?
dude.
What?
No.
No,
That's a whole
No.
other podcast, man. You don't have enough battery life for that podcast. You know?
bullshit.
Yeah, man, that's but yeah, so I never got to go to one of his events, and I mean, obviously the end of the world started, so that made me go through my airsoft box, and then yeah, so then I was like, you know what, I gotta play airsoft again.
Oh,
Back in
Overwatch Tactics.
Yeah, they have one down in Florida, I think they do.
Overwatch
Oh, yeah.
Tactics. Okay,
I think if I remember correctly, I think they've done one in Florida. It's like one of the reoccurring ones.
are they they're the Southeast guys or?
I've never been to one of their events. I just, from what I remember, I think they do one in Florida, of what I've seen, but not very avidly. I haven't
Okay.
looked into it enough to say otherwise. But yeah.
Who is like
I don't have
Who-
him on my friends list. Otherwise, I'd send him a link to join the show. 'Cause- Anyways,
who does the best Milsim stuff? Like in your opinion?
well, it's kind of comparing apples and oranges right now because they all have a different style.
it's
Yeah,
all
right.
different.
Okay, all right. So I figured
Like,
that
hard
was always
to-
how it was before.
Mhm. I
Um,
like Third Coast Airsoft a lot. I personally, I do not like the phase system when it comes like you say, you play for a few hours, stop for an hour, play for a few hours, stop. I personally don't like that. Just because
I
your
call it
body
the
just gets worn
unionized.
down. Your body gets worn down after each one, and then just people start to trickle off and just not play towards the end of the phases or the last few phases. But I want to attend the Milsim West event. I like the concept of it. The events that we're going to be doing when we start our events in January, it's going to be 24-hour nonstop. I know that might ring back a bell, but I like that style.
It's about time. So I remember back in the day begging Dylan to go to a Milsim West event. But Dylan is a loyal soldier, and Dylan was like, you know what? I can't do it, man. I can't do it. And I respect that. I absolutely respect that.
I want to do it at one point.
You will. I'll get you there.
At one point I will do one. Just when that's the question.
Yeah, the 24-hour. Once you do like one of the longer 24-hour ops or 48-hour ops,
it's a whole different animal.
Yeah, the phased ops, just you can't do them anymore. They're not fun.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I say a 12-year-old's pizza party, that's what I'm talking about. Like, we're gonna play a little bit, and now it's time to go call Pizza Hut and go to the car and eat pizza and jack around with our guns. And I love the whole premise of like, because I mean, any airsofter knows your shit's always broken. You know, your shit's always broken or breaking. You know what I mean? So when you go to one of these ops, it really trains you to get your gear into a place where you're like, I need to be able to carry this. I need to be able to move with it. I need to be able to go to sleep with this. I need all the guns and shit to work. I can't recharge anything. This gun needs to function. Like, you know, and man, you will narrow down so much gear. Like, you know, I love John Liu's events for a certain type of player. But his events spoiled me and made me carry so much shit. You know, I used to carry claymores into games and, you know, random types of grenades and like backup upon backup sites because I knew I could just walk to the car and get it, you know? So I would carry like Pelican, like I had 2 Pelican cases. I'd take every airsoft event, you know? And now when you go to like a Milsim West event, it's not possible. You can't do that. It's not a thing, you know, because you need to be able to hoof it in. And if you leave the event, you left.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah, those the Guardian Center, Milsim West you're at. I didn't even know you're going there until the next morning when you're sitting on the Russian side and I'm on the NATO side. We're looking at each other like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You're here? That's awesome.
That's right. Yeah.
I wish I'd known, bud.
Yeah. Is the Guardian Center still a thing? Are people still going there for events?
No, yes and no. John Liu was looking at doing one there. I'm glad you listened to my John Liu episode. Thanks. But he was worried about them pulling the event for, I guess, actual military agencies using it. But yeah, refer to the John Liu episode if you want more information on that.
I'll check that out.
And so yeah, the answer is like yes, but no. And so who? Oh, look at this throwback. We got a throwback comment here. Let's just find my cursor.
There we go. Let's go, man. Brian Gilbert. Yeah, man.
There's the theme song.
That's right. That's it.
Welcome, airsofters and Milsimmers all over the country.
Yep. There's Javier.
Sounds like he's like the 1960s radio.
Yeah. We're using cell phones for microphones. Like you're using old Samsung flip phones. Yeah, man.
So I don't know if I'd call this the TWIA reunion episode or the movie review club.
There you go.
So, all right. Oh, the shutdown is because of FEMA contractor for a while, but it's recently opened back up. Brian's got some more information there on the Garden Center. There is about a 30-second delay, so absolutely. Something like that. I'm glad he jumped in there to give us the intel. So we're thinking of maybe doing another movie review. Well, if things keep up, this is all we'll have to do, but maybe monthly or sooner, depending. And when I first suggested it, I was like, hey, Dylan, let's do Navy SEALs. He's like, what? What is that? I had to Google it. He goes, I've never seen that.
Oh, my God. But see, that's awesome. You guys are having so much fun doing this because
I know, right?
He's never seen anything, right? Like, dude, have you seen John Wayne's Green Beret? Oh, my God. Come on,
but we should always have a
bro.
watch party. That's what we really should be doing.
Yeah, you got to do
party,
that.
right?
You got to do that. You got to pop Dylan's cherry to these things. They're so good.
One time I was on a team, Team Speak. I was in a channel because I was playing Arma, and I jumped in this one. I was like, hey, guys, what's going on? Blah, blah, blah. Like, shh. I'm like, why? What's wrong? What's wrong? Like, we're watching anime. Oh, I think he lost his
Yeah, I think his phone.
Dylan lost his phone. All right, Dylan, we'll catch you next week. He might jump back in if he gets his computer going again. So, Yeah, I jumped in. They're like, "Oh, shh, we're watching anime." I'm like, seriously, you guys are all watching anime, and then like in the same TeamSpeak channel, discussing it. Like,
Hey, there's definitely something to that. But yeah, that I think that's an awesome thing for you guys to do. Green Beret is great. Delta Force with what's his name? The fucking guy that people like, his tears cure cancer. Chuck Norris is Delta Force.
Norris.
Holy shit, what an amazing movie. What an amazing
Oh my God,
80s
there's
gem.
so many options.
Yeah. Dude, Green Beret made me cry like a bitch. I still cry when I watch that movie, man. And take a look at this. Hold on. It made me buy this because I'm such a fucking crazy person.
Is that a vinyl?
Yeah,
Dylan's back. Should we let him back in?
yeah, let him back in. So if you've ever
Let him
seen
back in.
Green
thanks.
Beret, Barry Sadler, this Green Beret, he was a country singer. He wrote a song and it played in that movie, and it's a vinyl record of it from the 60s. He was like this decorated Navy Green Beret. But this movie, so you heard this song, "Fighting Soldiers from the Sky." Yeah, that's just this guy. So I have like two copies of this
your
record.
outro.
I'm a fucking
just an airsoft.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Right.
But I'm a crazy person. I have like 2 copies of this record because I'm fucking nuts. So
You got 2 turntables as well to go with your microphone.
I need to buy a
missed the-
turntable. I don't have a turntable yet, so I haven't been able to listen to it.
But
there's-
there's the last 5 minutes. What are we talking about?
Oh,
No,
don't
we're
worry
just-
about it.
yeah.
You have to review it later. Apparently,
Yeah.
Gary Delabate has his own vinyl record podcast
Dude, that's
from the Howard Stern Show.
but yeah,
That's
man.
weird.
That's,
Now,
there's so much
there's
good
another
stuff.
segue because I've been telling people with all this COVID stuff and they're talking about conspiracies and all this. I'm not going to get into it, but I was like, watch the movie Wag the Dog.
Yeah.
And in it, they make their own unit and they call it the 303, and they use the Green Beret song. Instead of saying Green Beret, they say the men of the 303.
Right.
Catch the last like 15 minutes of it, you'll see what I mean. It's hilarious. It's just
Right.
funny the way that they twist that song around. But so I don't know. So this is a good way to get James back on. So shoot, maybe I'll watch Green Beret.
Oh, dude, you got to see that. That's a great movie.
Is that the next one on the list?
We may have to do all 3. I'm gonna watch Navy SEALs anyways because I've been when I go to bed I can't sleep sometimes, so I watch 2.5 Men just because there's always sassy little broads on there, right? Little victims running around, and
Is it? I think there's other places you can watch snazzy broads.
yeah, but
2.5
Charlie
Men.
Sheen's in it and he's hilarious, right? And so he's also in Navy SEALs. He's the cool guy that
Yeah.
owns the Jeep, and there's a Jeep scene where he jumps out of the Jeep in Navy SEALs. I'm not gonna wreck it because Dylan's got to watch that.
Dude,
I don't
Dylan,
know.
you're gonna love that movie. You are gonna love that movie.
Navy SEALs or Green Beret?
Navy
Both.
SEALs. Green Beret is great, but Green Beret is like, I would say there's a whole like different type of war movie, and Green Beret is probably the last in the lineage of like the 1950s to 60s war movies. That's like a long kind of like war. I don't even know what to call it. It's like a play almost, but it just happens to take place in Vietnam. But most, like, if you've seen Battle of the Bulge, or God, I can't think of, but there's a bunch of like olden timesy war movies with John Wayne in them, and that's Green Beret is like one of John Wayne's best war movies, and it's that style. Navy SEALs is a very 80s war movie, but it's so fucking good. It's like the pinnacle of 80s war movies. And you have Charlie Sheen is in it. The fucking black guy from the unit is in it. I mean, it's filled with guys who you're like, oh, that guy's been in every movie I like, and it's just awesome. It's an awesome movie. I'm pretty sure the sniper is called his name. He's God, isn't he? Isn't the sniper's codename God?
I think so.
Yeah,
I just
that's
remember
what I
the
was
scene where
thinking.
he goes, "Oh, I gotta switch to thermal," and like he can see through the wall. I'm like, such bullshit.
I mean, yeah, but that's the 80s, right? Like
It is the
technology
80s.
is magic. Technology is magic.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a great movie, man. You should just watch that. Like, look, I love what Fox Red One Sound's doing here. Okay, but fuck him. Just watch that movie. Okay, that's just a good movie. Grab your girlfriend, be like, babe, we're gonna watch a rom-com, and then put this on. Okay.
Step one. Step one. Get a girlfriend.
Oh well, there you go. Step 2, watch that movie. Step 3, lose your girlfriend.
Well, maybe if you stop cheering for those Seattle Seahawks, you'd be good.
All right, go back to your Steelers, whatever Steeler Nation you'll call yourselves.
Anyways, so all right. Well, thank you very much, James. I appreciate it. The 20 questions at the beginning was fun.
Oh yeah.
Glad to be
It was
on, man.
fun.
Thanks for having me.
So we'll have you on again. This will motivate you to get out more,
Yeah,
At all.
probably.
right?
Yeah.
So
All right.
And,
bless, man.
yeah, and well, thank you very much, guys. Actually, so
No,
I was mentioning.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Yeah, all right, let's just sit and do that all night. That's great. That's great, Dylan. So I
I'm
was
sorry, I'm trying
mentioning
to be a
the
Canadian.
yeah, no sorries. What was I saying? Oh, the cassette of the Full Metal Jacket. My favorite thing was the remix. So I'm gonna leave everybody with.
Get your hand down. Up, right, up, right, up, up,
I don't know if you've heard this, Dylan.
up, right, up, right, up,
Nope.
right, up. I love working for Uncle Sam. I love working for Uncle Sam.
What the hell is this? It was on the CD. It was on the. Oh, yes, it is the CD, but it's on the tape.
Oh my God.
My new running music.
What you can plug into your 8-track?
My 8-track. All right, boys. Thank you very much.